The first time I noticed something was off about my new apartment was 3 weeks after moving in. I was cleaning out the hallway closet, reaching for a fallen box on the top shelf, when my fingers brushed against something metallic wedged into the corner. I pulled it down, puzzled. It looked like a watch, sort of. The casing was like nothing I'd ever seen, a strange iridescent metal that shifted colors depending on how the light hit it. No brand name. No seams or screws. The face wasn't a clock face at all, but some kind of digital display with symbols I couldn't begin to decipher. When I pressed what looked like a button, nothing happened. I set it aside as some broken tech gadget the previous tenant had forgotten, but something about it nagged at me. 3 days later, the dreams began. In my dreams, I kept seeing the same two people, a tall woman with a silver streak in her dark hair and a shorter man with round glasses. They wore strange, form-fitting clothes with too many pockets. They were always in a hurry, always whispering urgently, and always checking devices identical to the one I'd found. Timeline integrity compromised, the woman would say in each dream, her voice crystal clear despite the fact that I'd never heard it in waking life. We need to recover it before the divergence point, the man would reply. And then I'd wake up, sweating. After a week of these dreams, I found the second object. I was replacing a light bulb in the bedroom when I noticed a slight discoloration on the ceiling. Curious, I pressed my fingers against it, and to my shock, a small panel slid open. Inside was a slim metallic cylinder about the size of a pen. Unlike the watch thing, this device sprang to life when I touched it. A holographic display burst from one end, showing a 3D map of my neighborhood. A pulsing dot marked my apartment building. As I watched, the map began to shift, buildings morphing, streets rearranging themselves, showing the evolution of the area across time. Was I losing my mind? That night, I didn't dream of the strange pair. Instead, I woke at 3:17 a.m. to the sound of whispers in my living room. "It has to be here somewhere," a woman's voice said. "The tracker shows 2 quantum signatures in this unit." "We've already got the chronometer," a man replied. "We just need the cartographer and we can repair the timeline breach." I froze in bed, heart pounding. The voices from my dreams were now in my apartment. I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt an odd calm as I slipped out of bed, the cylinder, the cartographer, clutched in my hand. I knew I should hide, call the police, anything but confront them. Yet something pulled me forward. When I stepped into the living room, they didn't seem surprised to see me. "You're real," I said stupidly. The woman with the silver streak in her hair smiled tightly. "More real than you know. I'm Dr. Elise Kerrigan, Temporal Preservation Corps, Year 2187. This is my colleague, Dr. Marcus Chin." I laughed nervously. "And I'm hallucinating." "You're not," Dr. Chin said gently. "We're time travelers and we've made a mistake." They explained over tea, which they examined with curious delight, apparently tea being different in the future. They'd been conducting research, observing societal patterns in my time period, what they called the Great Transformation Era, when they'd been forced to make an emergency jump due to a temporal storm. "We had to leave quickly," Elise explained. "Too quickly. We left equipment behind, equipment that could severely alter the timeline if discovered and reverse-engineered. Like this." I held up the cartographer. They both tensed. "Yes," Marcus said. "And the chronometer you found in the closet. With both, someone could potentially determine certain aspects of future technology." "So you need them back," I said. "Yes, but..." Elise hesitated. "There's a complication." The complication, they explained, was me. By finding and activating their devices, I had become quantum entangled with them. The dreams were a side effect, my consciousness linking with theirs across time. "Once entanglement occurs, we can't simply take the devices and leave," Marcus said. "It would create a paradox loop that could collapse both our timelines." "So what do we do?" I asked. Elise looked grim. "The protocol is memory erasure." My blood ran cold. "You want to wipe my memory?" "It's painless," Marcus assured me quickly. "You'd forget us, the devices, everything unusual about the past week." "But there is an alternative," Elise said slowly, earning a sharp look from her partner. It's unorthodox, but given the circumstances, the alternative was something they called temporal embedding. Instead of erasing my memory, they would bind me to their timeline, make me a sort of anchor point, a designated observer. You'd retain knowledge of the future, Elise explained. You'd be our eyes in this era, helping guide our research remotely. In exchange, you'd receive certain benefits. Benefits? Limited knowledge of future events, Marcus clarified. Nothing that would allow you to significantly change history or profit unfairly, but enough to navigate your life with some foresight. I should have been skeptical. Should have questioned my own sanity. Instead, I found myself nodding. What do I need to do? The process was simple but strange. They calibrated both devices, placed them against my temples, and activated a sequence that filled the room with shimmering light. It's done, Elise said afterward, taking back the devices. You're now connected to our timeline. We can communicate with you periodically. And the benefits? I asked. Marcus smiled. Dreams will continue, but they'll be clearer now. Informational. Useful. We need to go, Elise said, checking her chronometer. The window is closing. Before they left, I asked the question that had been bothering me, why me? Out of everyone who could have found your devices. They exchanged a look I couldn't decipher. Some points in time are more receptive to temporal connections, Marcus said carefully. And some people are natural conduits, Elise added. It's rare, but you have a genetic marker that makes you sensitive to temporal energies. They wouldn't elaborate further, but promised to check in soon. After they disappeared in a flash of blue light that briefly illuminated my entire apartment, I sat in the sudden silence, wondering if I'd imagined the whole thing. 3 days later, I had my first informational dream. I saw a specific stock rising dramatically after a technological breakthrough. When I woke, I invested a small amount of my savings in that company. 2 weeks later, the stock tripled when they announced exactly what I'd dreamed. The next month, I dreamed of a flash flood that would damage my parents' neighborhood. I convinced them to take a weekend trip to visit me. While they were away, their street was indeed flooded, but their home was spared the worst damage because they'd moved their valuables upstairs at my strange insistence. Small things, most of them. Nothing world-changing. Just enough to make my life, and the lives of those I cared about, a little better, a little safer. It's been 2 years now. Elise and Marcus check in periodically, collecting my observations about important cultural shifts and social movements. They say my reports are invaluable to their research on the Great Transformation era. I've documented everything, my dreams, their visits, the small ways I've used my foreknowledge. Initially, I kept these records for myself, afraid I'd forget or somehow lose this connection. But recently, I've been thinking about sharing my story. Not everything, of course. Not enough to create a timeline breach, as they call it. But enough to make people wonder, to make them look up at the stars, or rather at the fabric of time itself, and question what might be possible. So here I am, recording this video. You probably think I'm crazy or that this is fiction. That's okay. The time travelers warned me most people wouldn't believe. But some of you will wonder. And some of you, the ones with that special genetic marker perhaps, might even dream. As for proof? Well, I've learned that the most convincing proof isn't dramatic or showy. It's subtle, consistent, and unfolds over time. So I'll make one prediction publicly. On April 15th of next year, at 3:17 p.m. Eastern Time, look up at the sky. For approximately 8 minutes, people across the Northern Hemisphere will observe what scientists will call an unprecedented atmospheric phenomenon, ribbons of light similar to the aurora borealis, but in the middle of the day. They'll attribute it to solar flares or atmospheric conditions. But you and I will know better. It will be Elise and Marcus and their team conducting a major temporal research expedition. They promise to make it beautiful, for me, a little gift for being their eyes in this era. And when it happens exactly as I've described, perhaps you'll start keeping a dream journal too. Because maybe, just maybe, you're a temporal conduit as well. Who knows? Perhaps that's why you were drawn to this video in the first place. Time has a way of finding its witnesses. The video went viral 3 days later, shared millions of times across multiple platforms. Most viewers enjoyed it as creative fiction, praising the storytelling and production value. But after April 15th, when the daytime aurora appeared exactly as predicted, the video was shared again, this time with a very different kind of attention. Scientists explained it as a rare solar event, of course. Coincidence, they said. I just smiled and checked my dream journal for that night's entries. Elise and Marcus had told me to expect the attention and not to worry. This level of proof was actually calculated and approved by the Temporal Preservation Corps. Some revelations, they explained, serve to stabilize timelines rather than disrupt them. Sometimes humanity needs a gentle nudge to look upward and forward. My subscriber count is now in the millions. Each month, I release another video with another small prediction. Each one comes true. And each night, more and more people report having dreams of their own, dreams of visitors with strange devices and knowledge of tomorrow. The time travelers didn't make a mistake after all. They left their proof behind deliberately, entrusting it to someone who would share it carefully, gradually, preparing humanity for a future that would one day include temporal exploration. As Elise told me during her last visit, the best way to preserve a timeline is to help it evolve precisely as it was always meant to. And so that's what I do now. I'm the bridge between now and then, past and future, strengthening the connections one story, one dream, one prediction at a time. The truth was never meant to remain hidden. It was meant to be revealed, just at the right moment in time.